Horrifying, disturbing, and exploitative are the words being used to describe the new Lifetime special about Wendy Williams. In fact, its own producers are now acknowledging now that Wendy has been diagnosed with dementia, had they known, no one would have rolled a camera. So what is going on with Wendy Williams, and why are so many trying to exploit her? Why is she in a guardianship? This is a heartbreaking story, and we need to break it all down. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and this is truly a sad story for those of you who've been following the case on TV personality, talk show legend Wendy Williams. She has been going through some immense health struggles, and this new documentary that was released on Lifetime is really troubling to watch. In fact, many close to Wendy are not happy with it. They have disowned it. They are imploring people not to watch it. And Wendy's own current guardian has tried to shut it down, attempted to try to stop its release, which in fact revealed the identity of her guardian, which many have been wondering, who is she? Why is Wendy's family not put in place as the guardian of Wendy Williams? Let's break down what we know so far, and we will get to what the doc producers, in fact, have said as well. But we got to rewind and sort of tell you about the history of things, which all started, really, I would say, back in 2022, when Wells Fargo, the bank, froze her accounts. The decision to freeze the accounts was made after Williams' financial advisor at the time alleged that she was of unsound mind. In January of 2022, Wells Fargo successfully petitioned a New York court to have Williams placed under temporary financial guardianship, reportedly because she was at risk of financial exploitation due to cognitive issues. A spokesman for the financial services company has since shared with People the matter was conducted under seal, and he claims against Wells Fargo have been dismissed. Williams' 23-year-old son, Kevin, whom she shares with her husband, Kevin Hunter Sr., came under scrutiny for spending, but he strongly denies that he exploited her in any upcoming Lifetime documentary. I've never taken money without her consent. Is she able to give proper consent, I guess, is what the real question is, Kevin. But he says he didn't. Now, he declined a comment for the story. Wanda says he is still financially supported by his mother. When the guardian was appointed to Williams in May 2022, her family says they were kept in the dark as to why the court made the decision. The court papers have also been sealed. All I know is that Wendy and her team walked into the courtroom one way and they walked out, and the family is completely excluded, says Wanda. A month after the guardian was appointed, Williams was caught on camera passed out at a Louis Vuitton store drunk. She entered a wellness facility for 2 months, starting in September 2022. But the next March, after she took it, the next March, after she took a trip to LA, her manager and jeweler Will Selby says in the documentary she was disheveled and adamant about drinking. I think the film is a great illustration of what, in this one particular case, life looked like for someone that was under a guardianship, says one of the producers of the documentary. Just because you're under a guardianship doesn't mean that you're getting 24/7 care. And I just think leaving someone in their apartment isn't care. When we got to know Wendy's family, it is clear to us this was a nice family. And the question remained in our minds, why is the family not able to be part of Wendy's life? Why is the family not able to serve as her guardian? I still don't fully have those answers. Now, this is where things are getting interested. Now, both the son, the manager, and Wendy are listed as producers. They're the ones who wanted to get this documentary made. And yes, it's hard to not say that this documentary isn't exploitative, because it is. It shines some terrible angles on Wendy through her condition. But they kept going. They kept filming. And someone got paid. I don't know who. The documentary crew attempted to get the Guardian to speak to them, but they were hung up every single time. So we weren't able to really ask the questions that we would have loved to have asked, like what's going on a daily basis? Why is there no food in Wendy's apartment, for example? Simple things that we were able to just see because we were there so often. That same producer also went in to say that there was a staircase where Wendy was living that was incredibly dangerous, that she could easily fall down during an episode. All of this implicating that the Guardian has put her in an unsafe place and that they're not doing their job, which is also interesting given that the Guardian had to sign off on allowing Wendy to be in this documentary, revealing all of these details, Perhaps they thought the family was in control. It's unclear what the stance against the family really is, allowing them to be there to film all this, to so-called exploit her, while then trying to claim that the son is taking the money. None of it really makes sense. And if you go to other people close to Wendy, they questioned not only the dementia, but also the guardians themselves, saying, why is she worse off than she was? She was healthy, sitting on bed, saying she enjoyed working out and old videos on Instagram. But now, since being placed in this guardianship, things are even worse. Her health has severely declined. I do what I can, the former Wendy host said in a clip recorded by her son as she flexed her muscles. You can clearly see the difference between Wendy's well-being during her first time in Florida with her son caring for her and her lack thereof in New York under this guardianship, Thomas wrote in the caption. These Wendy's are not the same. How did her health deteriorate so quickly? And why isn't her only child allowed to be by her side? She wasn't like that when he cared for her. The Miami Entertainment Law Group attorney alleged she took this video of Williams 2 weeks prior to her being ordered by the court to move back to New York to be placed under the guardianship. And here's that clip in question.
I like the company I keep there, and I do what I can. I do what I can.
I see you looking real healthy now.
Please, Kevin, please.
Yeah, but you also like how it's really.
So this is just sad because this is her at a better time, and it wasn't that long ago. Difference between her well-being of the video then and now post conservatorship. Thomas, whom we're told no longer works with William, questions the former radio DJ's recent dementia and aphasia diagnosis, writing, if Wendy's diagnosis is true, now more than ever, her son should be allowed that same grace. He deserves it. And most importantly, Wendy deserves it. Williams' current spokesman declined page 6 request for interview. The bank that requested the guardianship did not immediately respond to comment. All these people in control of her life, but not her son. And even if her son is getting paid a little bit, whatever, it seems like Wendy was okay with that. So all of this is very confusing. And for the Guardian to try and sue Lifetime to reveal herself, it does seem like there's a part of this that maybe, some are trying to spin this as, well, they're the only ones trying not to exploit Wendy, to try to take care of her. This documentary doesn't help matters at all. And I could see that argument because I don't like this documentary and the things that they reveal in it. There's a lot there that shouldn't have been put in there. A lot of stuff that we didn't need to see. So perhaps this diagnosis coming out from her caregivers is really just attempting to say, look, this is the problem. There really is something going on. And if you watch the clips from the documentary, it's clear something's going on. And yes, sometimes conservatorships do have to protect from even your family. So look, there's a lot to digest here. There's a lot going on. And when you look at what the son reveals in the documentary itself, he confirms she's in an alcohol-induced dementia, which is odd. It's also troubling that he revealed this medical diagnosis in the documentary. Like, why did he need to reveal such a thing? A lot of people not okay with the amount of information spilled by the son and others, sort of painting this picture that maybe the son isn't actually someone that should be trusted. But I don't know, man, how much money could there even be left? It's all so very confusing, but here's the clip in question.
To appointments and things like that, I was able to really learn more about things going on with my mother internally. They basically said that because she was drinking so much, it was starting to affect her headspace and her brain.
Tell me about those doctor's visits and what you learned.
So I think they said it was alcohol-induced dementia. Yeah.
Now, I play this clip only because now the filmmakers are under hot water. If we had known she had dementia, no one would have rolled a camera. Well, I'm confused. Why did she cut this part out? Isn't this kind of personal to share? It makes me mad at both the son, the filmmakers, a lot of people involved. I don't know. This is like too private to put out there. There's too much going on. All I know is it's clear something's going on. Why isn't she given access to her family? Why is this random person now in charge of her? We do know who the person is. Sabrina something is now the person who's there. Sabrina Morrissey. She's the one who filed the lawsuit trying to stop the documentary from airing, which again also kind of made her look bad. That could be the reason, not just because she wasn't trying to exploit her, but because it's exposing that Wendy isn't really in safe conditions. And just because they now threw her in a facility, the family's not allowed to know where she is. Even if the family had done something, that about the money or whatever, I feel like they still, and I'm not saying they did for the record. I'm just saying, let's play both sides. Either way, I still think, especially given this diagnosis, which they're now putting out in the world, exactly, this is now more time than ever that she should be able to be spent time with her family before it's all gone, before the dementia would fully kick in and she wouldn't be able to remember anybody. That's exactly when you want the family to be around to help her through that time. But currently, she is not in anywhere that the family is aware of. They are not speaking. They are not saying things. Apparently, she's able to call the family when she can, under the control of the facility and the guardianship, but the family is not allowed to call her when they want. All of this is huge red flags. The family is not into this court-ordered guardianship, which the judges have done. And we know from Brittany and others that guardianships, conservatorships can be very dangerous and overly protective in ways that are trying to protect the person, but sometimes ultimately don't. So is that what's happening here with Wendy? These are the questions that are being asked. Either way, my opinions, the documentary, while shedding light and showing that Wendy clearly has some issues that need to be addressed, meaning like she can't take care of herself. I think that's become clear. Who's really in charge of things, and are they taking care of her? And why isn't her family able to be there to help? Okay, the family's cut out financially, fine, but why can't they still be there to be her supportive emotionally? These are questions that the Guardian are still unwilling to answer and get involved in. They've instead thrusted her in some sort of facility, and we don't know where. And I got to say, I find that problematic. So that's where I'm at. I think the family should be able to get their contact reinstated. They should be able to check in and make sure that she's safe and that she's being taken care of, because there was a point there where they were taking care of her pretty well. And now I'm worried that they're not. And given the clips that are come out in this, what I would argue is an exploitative documentary, no matter what the filmmakers say, they should have known better. They should have known this was dangerous, and they should have used this for court filings and anything else instead of to make a buck. Who made a buck off of this? Who made a buck? Because I do think this documentary is exploitative. While sure, it's revealing some scary truth about Wendy Williams, some of it didn't need to be shared, especially over a 4.5-hour documentary. What do you guys think of all this? I can't imagine this isn't making you feel heartbroken as well. Tell me, though, your thoughts before you get there. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell for alerts. Smash that thumbs up and share your thoughts below. Whose team are you on in this? Who should have access to her? Do you think the family could be in the wrong, that they're trying to actually protect her? Or do you think this conservatorship's another one that's just trying to pass the buck to somebody else, put her in her facility, and not give her the emotional support she needs, in which case that is just devastating. I want to hear your thoughts down below. We'll be live later today to talk about this and so much other news. I hope you'll join us. Thank you guys so much for watching here on Popcorn Planet.